So you talked about the 5 doors. Can you explain a little bit more about music?
Music was, in my experience, was the most obvious door to oneness. It was obvious since day one, literally. I remember I rarely cry when I was a child, but when I would cry, music would instantly stop that. Or maybe I would cry for different reason now. I would cry out of love, or compassion, or joy. It would shift my crying from a drama contractive situation to an expansive crying, a crying that wants to embrace everything, that loves everybody. It doesn't matter what the show is creating, what are the rules they're playing. When music is playing and is pure, it reveals right away that is just a role, and behind the role there is a beautiful actor, which is a wonderful soul. And so music is one way to remember who we are, to shift our frequencies to higher ones, and most of all to release whatever we are holding in our belly that is blocking us. Music has the ability to, if we are willing to do that, to allow us really rapidly to release everything out of our system. In fact, if we notice, music, like all the other elements that I will be talking about, has been very much manipulated and corrupted in order to may even achieve the opposite. I don't follow so much the music of today, but in the last almost 20 years, I've seen very little music in the mainstream. There is beautiful music, but in the mainstream there is a sponsorization of a music that is getting more and more shallow, it's getting more and more mental, and is more and more dense and filled with subliminal languages that are moving towards the dark sides. So they know what they are doing. They are trying to reduce the incredible power that this portal has, music, and make it actually a device of even sponsor more dysfunctional messages and vibrations. The music of today exudes a sexuality that is very dark, exudes a character, an ideal person, or an ideal way to be successful that is completely artificial, is not organic at all. And so, of course, all the children and teenagers, they are some of them, because many of the children and teenagers today are very intelligent, and so it's not very easy to trick them, but some of them are affected by. Music is a powerful weapon and it's a magical frequency. We all come from music. The entire existence is a symphony. That's how I perceive it. We are music. We are sound. We vibrate, therefore we are sound. We are music. And many of us are out of tune. And so many of us need good music to tune back themselves into the symphony of life.
So what would you consider good music then? What would you consider good music?
Good music is a music that is being conceived without the participation of the ego, without the hidden agenda of the manipulative mind. Are frequencies that are pure and innocent and completely open and transparent. They are in all the sequences of its production, from the moment that it is being conceived to the moment that is being written, to the moment that it's being executed and produced and then mixed, and then finally on stage, because music should be listened on stage most of the time. So all these steps has to be executed in a state of purity, of innocence. Then when you achieve this, and the whole package, when music is completely produced from a sense of pure heart, then it has an immense transformational power, and it is a door. It's a door to our best self. It's a door, it's a trigger that will immediately dissipate the illusion of separation and will take us immediately to oneness. This has been achieved in the past many times. We have wonderful, incredible artists in the past. That's why most of us, when they want to listen to music, they have to go back. The 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the classical music, they have to go back, because now there is not so much there. There is some, but not in the mainstream. So it is very important right now that artists, musicians, raise their level of responsibilities far beyond the following the music industry, and actually drop the whole game of fame, money, and all that stuff, and just create music for the purpose of facilitating the emotional release of humanity, collectively and singularly. This is the responsibility that musicians have right now. But they themselves has to wake up to that, and most of them have been programmed and been in many ways. They have an ego, they want to be famous, or they want to be a hit in the radio, whatever. They are so fascinated by all these illusions, they forgot what was the first reason why they started to do music, because it was giving them that feeling of oneness.
Yeah, but don't you think that in the time of the 70s and 80s and 60s, that the artists weren't corruptible at that time?
Oh yeah. Yes, but somehow the filtering was, there were less filters. So music at that time had a greater chance to break through. While now it's very difficult to break through, but on the other hand, it's beautiful because we have technology that doesn't enslave us to the music industry. We can do our music. I do music. I have nothing to do with the music industry. Yes, sure, of course. I have some tracks on iTunes, so that music industry is, but that doesn't dictate the way how I want to create music. It doesn't induce me to pollute my music with a level of corruptibility. Of course, if I want to be a hit in iTunes, then I have to start to see what is the trend, what is the beep that now is selling more, and now I'm lost. I'm unconscious. I'm a musician that is unconscious. I'm not conscious anymore. I go into the forgetfulness. I forgot why I'm doing music. Music is life. Music is love. Music is everything that we are. We are music. In each of us, there is a very unique note, musical note, that when it's tuned perfectly, it will expand furthermore the symphony of life. So musicians have the ability to tune back those other people that have lost their musical note within, and by playing the right, purely intended musical notes, they can facilitate the tuning of the notes of each single individual in the earth. Mm-hmm. So music is a very powerful door.
Yeah. And would you say that classical music, for example, is more pure than R&B or heavy metal?
Not necessarily. No. It's not a matter of genre. No. It's a matter of what the composer state of purity is at the moment of conceiving the music and producing the music and executing the music, you know. And so it can be classical, it can be rock, it can be jazz, it can be pop, it can be romantic songs, it can be ambient, it can be new age, it can be whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So music is a very powerful tool that we all have access to, but we have to use our discernment and select the music that support stillness, that support heart opening, that support positive, joyful imagination, support oneness rather than separation. Because right now the whole music scene is pretty messed up, and there is a lot of artists, so-called artists, that have been fall in a level of forgetfulness so low, so dark, that they are literally sign up for the dark forces to allow them to use music for purposes that are not divine. Yeah. So music is a very powerful door, both for the musicians and for the listeners. And yes, let's open our heart to beautiful music and to beautiful musicians.